Just lost the feed, ladies and gentlemen. Just lost the feed. The feed drop. So, occupation part 2. England under occupation. So let's wait for a few of you to jump back on board. I am going to share this out as well. So, yeah. So we'll wait for a few to jump back on. Sorry about that. I do apologise. I'm just going to share this feed out on some platforms whilst a few of you jump on. Do apologise. The feeds just seem to drop, and I do wait a few seconds and a few minutes for the feed to reconnect. I don't know why it starts and stops. Live feed technology. Perhaps it's the streaming. I'm not too sure. These are not pre-recorded, by the way. That's why they do start and stop, I guess. Because most people that do YouTube videos they pre-record and then they upload, so that's why you don't get no disconnection. And I am out in the country, unfortunately, which doesn't help because the internet out here is probably not as good as it would be in a city and that. So my apologies, my sincere apologies for that. So let me just share this out. I'm going to just copy the link as well, and we're going to share it out on the VK, which is my preferred method of communication now. So one more link, and then we'll jump back into this occupancy video. It's scary, people, and it's what we've allowed. You know, we've allowed this to happen, to manifest. So let me just share this out on VK. See if I can share this out on VK. It's only saying one in the room now. Probably everyone's thought, oh, here we go, dodgy connections. I'll wait for a few more to jump back on. If they do, if they don't, then I'll probably pop back on later tonight. Let's just post this one out. Here we go. YouTube. Righto. So, yeah, we've got a couple of people jump back on. We're chatting this morning about occupancy and England under occupation. And the biggest thing that I detest out of all this is that we have this thing called a state party. Now, that's socialism, fascism, communism, whatever it is you want to call it. It's disgusting. And I struggle to realise that England is in that position that we've allowed this to happen. We the people, we've allowed this to happen. But the state claims to own your body. It claims the right to just be able to pretty much do what the hell it wants to do to you. And it's disgusting. It's this sick, twisted mentality. Now, the thing is, fortunately, is that generally, more so in the Western Hemisphere than other parts of the world, whenever communism and other things like that have tried to take grip, they've never really succeeded. They've always failed. Even Russia now considers itself to be a very, very mild form of a communist country, and themselves they have a lot more freedoms than we do. I watched a video the other week of Tony Robinson going around the world on the trains. Very fascinating documentary. And he stayed with a Russian family and was having some meals with them. And they've got their own vodka making machines, which is just absolutely amazing. We've only got a couple of people on here, so perhaps everyone's like, "Thought, where's he gone? Where's he gone?" I don't know why this live feed starts and stops. It's a bit of a swine, to be fair. But slowly but surely, people will jump back on. And this morning we're talking about the system, the police now, complete abuse of power. And this copper on the train station enforcing this social distancing, essential travel, this and that, and going to arrest this Polish lad. The CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, and Lord Sumption and many others have come out and said, listen, social distancing and all these words like essential travel were just requests. They were politely asking you to observe these things, but they're not laws, ladies and gentlemen. They're not laws. Social distancing is not law, nor is essential travel. And the problem with all this essential travel is that the inclusion of one is the exclusion of another, and I detest that. Either we're free or we're not free. That's what we've got to get back to. There will be no supposition, no qualification of certain things. Either we get back to a free country and free people, or we don't. And freedom is for everybody. And that's how it should be. That's how this country was formulated. That's how it pretty much survived for such a long time. We've obviously had different time periods where different things and events have happened, but I really can't stand the way this country's going. And this copper not allowing this Polish guy to travel after he politely said to his copper, this is my name, give him his first Christian name, Patrick, and told him where he was going and who he was working for. That should be sufficient. What that copper should have done is disappeared, made a few calls, right, and then come back and said, yeah, no worries. But he was just all about the authority, this copper. I have the authority and I will use force. We're doing this to keep you safe, all for your safety. Exactly what the German Wehrmacht, that was their slogan. So why is to keep you lot safe. Oh, that sounds good. Oh yeah, I feel really safe with you lot of maniacs around. Kerry Roberts, hello sweetheart, nice to see you. I was just on a live feed on here, but the feed cut, and we had about 20 people tuned in, and hopefully they jump back on board at some point. Unbelievable. Carlos, take two. Yeah, we got disconnected. I don't know why. The thing with this live stream is, right, I live in the country. The internet isn't fantastic down here. None of this is pre-recorded. If this was pre-recorded, you'd get no glitches, but you wouldn't be able to interact. I would not be able to see your comments in real time, and I like that. I like to see your comments in real time. I really do. And but if the internet goes down for whatever reason, the stream, it takes a lot of bytes or whatever it is to keep the stream going. And I am in my office, and the router's in the house. It's a bit of a gig, mate. But I don't think there's anything I can do about it. It's just where I live. It's just where I live. That's all. So we are totalitarian right now. This country has turned into a totalitarian regime. You can go out, you can't go out. You can use the trains, you can't use the trains. Someone please explain to me how that's ever proper. Now, the trains themselves, many years ago, were in the hands of the people. They were run by the people. It was a thing for the people. It was very affordable. They didn't actually run on time a lot of the time, but so what? At least you were free. Yeah. All this you've got to get, it's got to be, that's fine. But you've lost your freedoms. You've lost your freedoms for convenience. You've lost your freedoms to have a train that comes dead on the time. I would rather go back to a time when the trains were cheap as chips. If they come 10 minutes late, they come 10 minutes late. So what? You're going to get to your destination. Don't worry about it. But the trains were run by the people for the people. And that's how this whole country used to run. Every infrastructure was run for the people by the people, right? Bandwidth. Yeah, probably is, Dave. Probably is. But now we have its private corporations. This copper, by exercising this kind of authority on that platform, on this Polish lad, is basically, he's claimed that property is his. And this is the property. And this is the trouble with privatization. It is. This is the property of British Rail, Network Rail, wherever it was. So hang on a minute. Whoa. Years ago, it was the property of the people. It was the property of the people. But everything's been privatised. Everything's been sold off by this UK corporation. And it's really dangerous. And we're now starting to see the fallout of how dangerous that stuff really is. Because this guy, as this Polish lad went to walk to board his train, and these 3 other individuals that work for Great Western Railway, shame on them. They should have spoke up for this Polish lad. They should have said, hang on a minute, copper, that's abuse of power. But no, the muggles just stood there and submitted. And it's disgraceful. We all turn a blind eye when this thing in a uniform comes along with these superpowers like Superman or Wonder Woman. He did look a bit more like Wonder Woman as well. There was a video yesterday of a black girl in America. I'm saying she's black because she was black. She was a slip of a girl. She was probably about 19, 20. This white copper, I don't know what part of America it was, but obviously didn't like what she was saying to him. He threw her over his shoulder so hard, her legs went up in the air, flashed all her knickers off. And when she landed on the floor, she landed on her head first and the rest of the body followed. And he leapt on her like he was in a scrum down a rugby match. Do you know, that copper needs to go straight to hell. He is one wicked, vile creature. She did not, in any circumstances, deserve treatment like that. Because when you are supposed to have an authority and a lawfulness about you, you're supposed to be with clean hands. You're supposed to be angelic. You're supposed to be worthy, greater than now. You're supposed to uphold the natural rights and natural justice. You're not supposed to be acting like a common thug. You're not supposed to be acting like a mafia. I truly believe that the mafia took over. I truthfully believe that in the 30s, in Chicago and London, wherever, when this big depression, more so in America, went on, that the mafia took over. I think the mafia were the only people with their underground networks that owned and controlled pretty much everything. Very evident in a film with Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow. What's his name? God, it's an actor. It's disappeared off my head. He don't look very well at the moment. And all these big actors and actresses in America not getting their adrenochrome. They look very sick at the moment. Celine Dion being one of them. Madonna looks like a Bijan Fries. Johnny Depp. There was a film where he was a gangster and he was robbing banks. And at the end of the film, he gets shot dead outside the cinema by this copper who's trailblazing him. But prior to that, he'd gone to see his mafia bosses because the heat was really, really on him. And his mafia bosses said, well, we've moved into something new. And you see all these mafia thugs in the back office on the telephone selling insurance, all with their nose, like bent over with the suits on them, And he went, what? He said, yeah, we don't have to rob banks no more. He said, we've moved into an easier gig. And they're all on the phone selling insurances. That's exactly what happened. The mafia took over. The mafioso took over. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is sick, demonic, evil, cretinous, vile. They took over. The mafia took over. And the proof is that Johnny Depp film, because Hollywood has to show you the truth. They do. Hollywood, the druidic system, they have to show you and tell you the truth of what's going on in the world. It's like a public announcement with all these films. Johnny Depp, David Wilson, yes, it is. Georgie Jensen, hello, mate. Carlos says, when they confuse people with what they can do and can't do, and with what they can't do and can do, confused people are easier to control, I reckon. Amen. Amen. No one stood up for this lad, this poor Polish lad, and I think he got frog marched out by this nasty, vile Welsh copper. Nasty, vile man. If you ever watch my stuff, you're a vile individual. You are a vile individual. I hope you stand on a big dog turd at some point over the weekend and it splatters all over you, you dirty, vile creature. Because you're an oppressor, and I detest oppressors. I detest oppression. I detest fascism and all that stuff like you've got no tomorrow. And I've seen the high side of it. And what was my awakening? Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, our beautiful thing called the Inland Revenue in this country, HMRC, God bless you, Mom. It's got nothing to do with the Queen, by the way. It's a private-run mafia cartel. That's all the HMRC is, a private-run mafia cartel. Let me tell you. And the guy that lives up round the corner from me used to work for the VAT, the value-added tax, which was only supposed to be in during war times, but then it stayed and continued long after that. He actually got dismissed unfairly from the VAT people, and he sued them all for a big chunk of wedge. But he said that when he was working there, he said a couple of guys come in that were working for him and said, "Oh, we're going to do this something to do with scrap metal, and it was all to do about protecting the environment and all this." And he said, "But really, we know it's all about just making a shed load of money, right?" And he just said to me, "These people are unreal. They're off their tits. They're off their rocker." So the HMRC took me into a building one day. I went down there for a completely different issue. And before I knew it, I'd been hurtled into this, well, actually not physically touched because I'd have gone mad. But I found myself in this room and the door was swiftly put in a hole behind me. And I sat down at this big luxury desk right up the end. And these two young ladies in their late 20s, mid-20s, were just stewing at me like there was no tomorrow. It was like they were chewing like a bulldog chewing a wasp. Their faces were, and I'm thinking, I don't even know you. I'm just sat at the end of this table as cool as a cucumber, so I don't even know you. And they've got A4 files, A4, thick files, and they're throwing them at me. And I'm like, "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" They said, "Sign them." I said, "Whoa, hang on, consent, what are you playing at? Sign them." I said, "Really?" They said, "You are not leaving the building until you do." I went, "Oh, fantastic. What have we got for dinner?" "Love a bit of steak. Chuck a bit of mushroom on there, a little bit of steak Diane, beautiful." They're going, "Rrr." I walked out of that room. I felt violated, and I thought to myself, these people are really scary. These people are dangerous. They're really, really, really dangerous. Really uber dangerous. There's nothing nice about them. They're evil, violent people, and they're just the tip of the iceberg. They pale into complexion with the police and all these other so-called authorities that have turned into totalitarian tiptoe. So I come out of that building and I thought, do you know what? Stuff this crap. They're not right. They're not proper people. These people are violent, and they're just, it's a case of ownership now. It's like, we own you. We tell you what to do. You sit there, you sign this. I'm like, no, I'm not playing your game. And I've got this internal feeling come over me and thought, I'm just going to sit here in my own bubble and I'm just going to let them crack on, and I'm going to walk out of here with my head held. And as I walked out, I could see them sneering at me. I'm thinking, who are you people? I don't know you. And that is the truth. That's what set me on my journey. That's what set me alight. That's what set me on the path of enlightenment. And they actually took me to court, or took the legal fiction to court, and I didn't know nothing about the legal fiction and that. And I actually, when I walked out of them doors, these two girls were staring at me and sneering. I said, "Ladies," I said, "I hope you remember this day as much as I do." I said, "Because you've fired me up." I said, "Like no one's ever fired me up before." I said, "Because I'm a very good Christian boy. And you have done something today that has gone against my morality." I said, "And let me tell you, when I figure out what it is that you've done to me and how you've done it, and I will, I am going to make it rain on you people." And they just, "Yeah, whatever, go on, off your pop." And I'm like, "No, mark my words." So then they took it to court, and they done this and that. Anyway, that's besides the point. Back then, I didn't have no idea of legal fiction, what the birth certificate was, none of that. And they tried to take the house I had at the time. So in the end, I coughed up 25 grand. And that was that. And I vowed at that point, I was going to rock this. I was going to figure out. They fired me up, man. It was like, I was so fired. And it was about 6 months, for 6 months, I was like, what is it? How How have they got control over me? What is the vehicle? What is the mechanism? What's the linchpin in the grenade that they have? They have hold of this pin in this grenade over my life, over my property, my substance, my soul. What is it? And then all of a sudden, one day, YouTube had just really sort of been foisted upon me. Someone said, "Have you seen this thing called YouTube?" And I was like, what's all that about? So I jumped onto YouTube, and my mind's going, how does a man become free? It just kept coming over me. How's a man become free? Where does a man derive his freedom from? And all of a sudden, I honestly did. I stumbled across a video, and I can remember the time. I can remember the day. It was like, and this video was called "Just an Illusion" by John Harris. Now, John, a few years later, had many regrets about what he did, and he said he created a load of carnage, but I don't personally think he did, because people are responsible for their own actions, and we're a nation of children, and we need to grow up. And John had that bitter pill amongst him, and I don't think he should have done, but he did nonetheless. Anyway, this film, A Carpenter's Just an Illusion, Carpenter's Point of View, I watched it, and after I'd finished watching it, I sat there and went, my jaw hit the deck. I went, nah, can't be that simple, really. So I watched it again, and it just, the penny dropped. I went, oh my word, it's paper. They've created this document, this piece of paper, this legal fiction, this Crown copyright document that we're all in the custody of. And that was it. I was off. And I can remember my missus used to shout down at me sometimes, are you coming to bed yet? And I'd be like, yeah, I'll be there soon. It'd be like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'd done that. I studied and studied for about 6 months to a year. And I changed overnight. I realized that I was more powerful than I knew. I realized that I was the power and authority. And it started me on a very long journey of enlightenment. And I'm glad to say now that we certainly have pulled the curtain back on the wizard. But people have to start being brave. We cannot keep living like this, with this authoritarian tiptoe, where this is happening to this Polish lady. And how many other people did it happen to that day? With this nasty, vile constable walking around like Heil Hitler. And that's what they've become. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, they have become the Fourth Reich. They are, honestly, they're unbelievable. They care not for you. They're violating all international law. They're violating natural law. They need to be stopped. And I think in time, when they keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, I think they will be stopped. Because I don't think, if they continue on the path that they're going, people are going to continue to allow this to happen on. Afternoon, David. It's Craig Bryceland. Hello, sweetheart. I have to use the wife's YouTube. Nice to see you again. Hello, Craigie. Nice to see you, love. Thanks for tuning in. Georgie Jensen said you should stand at Speaker's Corner, Dave, and show others the way forward. A guy last week at Speaker's Corner, because he went out and defied the police in the coronavirus pandemic scamdemic, and got his hip broken in the process by a special constable. And this constable was really special, special needs, because he smashed this lad in the hip, and he broke his hip. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is really very painful. And this copper won't have lost any sleep over it. He won't have any second thought about his actions. He's just a nasty CUNT. Right, a really nasty, vile CUNT. That's what he is. That's what that copper is. There's no other way of describing him. You break people's hips, you're a nasty CUNT. You violate people's rights, you're exactly the same. So we all live in this country under the illusion that we have freedom. And we don't have freedom. You just have permissions. You have a permission to use the railway, unless the master race say otherwise. You have a permission to use the road, unless the master race say otherwise. You have a permission to have a child, unless the master race say otherwise. And the problem with these master races is that they're doing a lot of nefarious things with children, young boys. So they're vile people. They're certainly not nice. And I'm hoping at some point in the near future that their gig is over. Georgie Jensen's, them just go back to next day until they get the point. Honestly, it's the people of this country have just rolled over. We need more Colonel Jack Churchills. We need people with that spirit, that freedom. He used to rip down that carriage window, throw his briefcase straight out the window into his back garden, so he didn't have to carry it home. If he tried that today, he'd be arrested, taken down in front of the magistrate, locked up. And that man was a national hero, a national treasure, was Colonel Jack Churchill. If you don't go into battle with a sword, you know, you're improperly dressed. My missus is funny. She's got this 1948 piece of paper on Singer sewing machines, how you should sew. And it says, you shouldn't sew until you have done all the dishes, all the ironing, and you've put on a very nice dress and you've done your makeup, just in case the husband comes home, so that you can be free in mind and spirit to enjoy your sewing experience, because only at that point will you be able to sew with great confidence. Well, she's reading this out. I'm crying with laughter. But that's how we used to be. We had properness about us. We don't seem to have that no more, but we need to get back there. And we need to stop this corporate totalitarian tiptoe. Well, it's not a tiptoe anymore. It's here. Self-evident in that video from this Polish lad. And God bless him for videoing it and letting the world see the crackpots, the jackboots. They are crazy. The people that run this country, the jackboots, wherever it is they are, whoever they are, they're crazy. They're not of sound mind, people. I'm sorry. And then they want to send you for a psychological assessment when you dare challenge their authority. The minute that you challenge any of the system's authority, guess what? You're crazy. You deserve to go and have a psych assessment, wear a tinfoil hat, and have your brain recharged. Did you know they do that in this country? Did you know they use electric shock to recharge your brain? They reset your brain, ladies and gentlemen. What's your views on that? If you've been sectioned under the Mental Health Act, whatever it is, they will get to a point where they reshock your brain. They strap you down, they place probes on your head, and they shock you. They reset your brain. Georgie Jensen, we need to get up and say no more. We've done with the EU. Where has it gone now? We've not left the EU, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to make that qualification very abundantly clear. The European Union absolutely still 100% has its talons on this country. Let me tell you. Like you've got no tomorrow. But we're seeing it all speed up now. Nigel Farage the other day went out on the waters. He went and challenged a French vessel that was escorting migrants, whatever it is you want to call these people, over 25 to a dinghy coming over. It's all very low in the water. They look like they're just landing on one of the Juniper Beach back in WW2 on D-Day. And it's sad to witness, but it is what it is. So Nigel Farage has had his collar felt by the police a few weeks ago, by Kent police banging on his door late at night. Who are these people? They're Philistines. They're very uncivilized. And it's all to do with intimidation and fear. I'm sure that it could have quite easily waited till the following day if they just wanted a nice little chat with Nigel with his with a cup of tea and some decent verbiage, because Nigel is quite an eloquent speaker. But no, they go around there late at night, shining lights through your windows like the Gestapo do, all through intimidation and fear. Well, obviously Farage wasn't taking none of that and called them out, and is now, trust me, that man will continue on his warpath for exposing what's going on in this country like you've got no tomorrow. And God bless him for doing that, really and truthfully. Unless some takes him to court as a man, not a constable. Absolutely right. The thing is, we really do need to start taking our power back. Now, we offer solutions where you can do that. It's all about returning the birth certificate. It's all about giving them back their property, because that's what they own, that's what they control. They only operate on paper. This government can only operate on paper. That's why it gets the ump when you won't show it. It's paper. That's why it has a meltdown, has a hissy fit, because it goes, oh, this one must know what's going on. I'll best arrest this one and show it who is boss. And that's what all this is about. It's about them showing you that they, because they've got all the weapons, right? And America finds itself in a very similar situation. But the difference between us and America is America has its Second Amendment, and they have weapons. And when the people get cheesed off in America, they go to their public buildings with weapons. And if you've got 1,000 individuals there with rifles and handguns, I don't care what law enforcement officer you are, you're not going to say a word out of turn unless you want to start a civil war. But the English, because we're a very pleasant people, and our pleasantries is our downfall, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, for anyone who has a hissy fit, or anywhere in the world, we are now lemmings and we are easy targets. And the state has abused its power on every single front, and we need to put it back in its box, people. Georgie says, yeah, we may have not left, but people actually got up and done something about it, mate. Absolutely. Everybody is believing they're nuts now. How many times have we been lied to? It's never going to say it's all. People will be people. This guy yesterday on this local helping page, I said, he was talking about the social distancing. I said, look, listen, it's not a law. It's just a request. And he went, you've just destroyed some of my brain cells. And I said to him, have you got Alzheimer's? And he said, that's not funny. Don't talk about it like that. And I went, you started it. You said that I'd destroy your brain cells. Then he blocked me. And I thought to myself, wow, that's the kind of country I'm living in. It's rather than have just a little bit of joyous debate and a little bit of camaraderie, he just blocked me. And I'm like, well, that's indicative, isn't it? And that's what we're living in now. People, we're so isolated that people just live in their own bubbles, hoping and praying that they can get through this life without the authorities coming knocking at their door. But when you live in that ethos, in this current epoch, you are not free. When you're curtain twitching and you're worrying about just getting through this existence without having your collar felt, right, and playing a lottery, that's a people's lottery. I don't want the police around my house. No, you seen how violent. In all these courts now, they've got men with machine guns. You do know that a lot of your courts now, there's coppers with machine guns. That's occupation, people. You're under occupation. This country's under occupation. It's really dangerous. It's really, really dangerous. But in America, they're all stepping out. The old Bill stood down the other day with them, stood side by side with them, because the fact they don't want a civil war, and the police will only go so far out there, and they're violent out there. The American police are uber violent. So the Australian police, the sickos, absolutely sick. Because when you go to someone, I need to see your papers, you ain't doing this, and you go, oh, come on, stop being so stupid. I'm being very civil. Let's deal with this civilly. and all of a sudden you go to walk past and they pull out a weapon and point it at you, and you've got to go like this and put your hands up in the air, hand a hock. We've been there before, and that's exactly what this country is now. My friend last year, bless him, he's got a pacemaker, and his cousin had a bailiff had put a clamp on his car. And he took it off, and the bailiff called the police. Well, my mate's gone running down there, and it was funny because when he went for his checkup, the hospital said everything's fine, but we've noticed on this particular day that the machine had to work overtime, and your heartbeat went up to so and so, so and so. And he laughed. He said, "Yeah, I was dealing with the coppers at the time with a bailiff issue." So this old car worth about 300 quid. This guy Duncan saying to the bailiff, "Do one, you're not taking it, get your clamp off." Well, your clamp's off, I've cut it off, or whatever. I don't know how it all went down. But when the police turned up, these two constables got out of their car with sidearms on. And that's tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. That's occupation. You're in an occupative state. Because at any point that copper goes, right, points that gun at you, you're hand a hock. They take the car, yeah, hand a hock. So the law states, when force is involved, no law can prevail. There is no, once that minute that force comes in with that gun or that taser or them cuffs going on, that's it. Law's out the window. And my friend last year had her car clamped or whatever. So she went out. This is up north of the country. And she started questioning what was going on, and the police turned up in a riot van, Lord knows why, and they've got better things to do. And her son, because the mother was being manhandled by the Gestapo, and they are a Gestapo. I tell you, you want to be paying attention, people. You don't want this. You don't want a country like this. Her son comes out and says, "Oh, hey, get your hands off my mother." The police grabbed that 17-year-old boy. They slammed his head into the windscreen so hard he cracked the windscreen. And guess what they did? They done her for having a broken windscreen, ladies and gentlemen. And her son had to go to hospitals having convulsions and fits. Luckily, he didn't die. Can you imagine how hard your head's got to be smashed into a windscreen to cause it to crack? From the other side, not from the inside, it's from the outside. Can you imagine? I have to say, if any man or woman ever did that to me, I don't think I'd be responsible for my actions, because revenge is best served cold. And I'm a good Christian boy, but I am not going to be violated like that. This is my temple. This is a God creation. You're all the same. Your vessel is a creation of God, the divinity. And we're being abused. And we tolerate it. And we turn a blind eye, and we try in our minds to justify that. Oh, it's all right. It's just the police. Oh, it's all right. It's only the courts. Yeah, it's like you've rolled over. It's like you're this pussycat and you're letting them stroke your belly. We've got to be really careful, people. We are absolutely 100% under a military occupation right now. We've got men with machine guns in the courts. We've got men with machine guns outside Downing Street with metal gates. We've got men with machine guns in cars travelling around. And then the minute you question anything they have to say, out comes the tyranny, out comes the force, out comes the weapons. And at that point, law cannot prevail. Law is done and dusted because force supersedes law. It takes over. And when force is involved, there's no questioning, there's no arguing, unless you wish to cop a hide in, to be shot, to be tasered, to have all these physical harms placed upon your godly vessel. I tell you, I despair. And they go home and sleep at night. They go home and put their head on their pillow and have a couple of eggs and bacon. And you had a good day, love? Yeah, I've had a lovely day. What have you done? Most wives like to know before they do their sewing on their singer-sewing machine. They like to know what their husbands have been up to. Well, I tased the kids today, yeah. Oh, did you? Oh, that was nice. Yeah, no, and I smashed this kid's head into a windscreen. He's off in hospital now having concussions and fits, yeah. Oh, you are good at your job, aren't you? Here, have an extra sausage. Go on, be lucky. Oh, thanks, darling. I love you. Cup of Horlicks before you go to bed? Yeah, let's have a cup of Horlicks. A friend of mine, ex-Navy man, about 5 years ago, at 10 o'clock at night, had a bailiff knocking at his door, and he was having none of it, and the police were there. They forced him into the house, knocked him to the ground, and was robbing his stuff as he was in the house, and his wife was sat there watching the TV. These bailiffs were robbing their home, and the police arrested him, took him down the cells, and left him there for 12 hours. Fucking devil worshippers. I said it. They're devil worshippers. These people with this Masonic light dark checkerboard rim that wear flat caps now. And they look a mess, don't they? Let's be honest. They don't look like they used to. They used to be very upstanding people. I imagine the old constables of the 60s and that was under the common law and respect of the law would probably be turning in their graves now. I reckon they'd be going, what happened? We've lost our way. And they have absolutely lost their way, ladies and gentlemen. And I come on here in the vanity and the light and hope, and I pray every single day that you all muster the strength to stand up against this tyranny and to give them back their property and to turn your back on their system and to start your own system and to manifest your own futures of greatness. I really do. Because right now we're in trouble. Hello, I'm on my lunch break, sending love in the hate-filled world. Bella B. Hello, Bella. You having a nice bit of lunch? What you got on there today? So you got a nice salad or something? What you got? A smoothie? You got a nice little juice? What you got going on? Georgie says we have to make a stand and say no more, not just for yourself, but for the next generation. I agree. I really do agree. You know, because there will be no point in living because you've got no freedoms, and people seem to think that their freedoms come from permission slips and pieces of paper. That's not freedom, people. If you look up the definition of freedom, let's have a look in my 1800s dictionary. Let's see if I can find the word freedom, and let's see what it says, because I've got a funny feeling it says something other than what we've got going on right now. I'm going to put my other glasses on for a second. So, let's have a look at freedom. Let's see if we can find the word freedom in here. One of my most favourite songs. Well, I've got a couple of favourite songs. They're quite old. One of them is the theme tune. If ever I'm feeling down and a little bit depressed, I generally put the theme tune onto Robinson Crusoe. I don't know if you remember Robinson Crusoe. I used to love that. And the other one is an old Matt Monro song called Born Free. And Born Free is free as the wind blows. And I have trouble listening to it without shedding a tear, because me and my granddad used to sit together and he'd play it. So yeah, it does. So I'm just looking for the word freedom, and we'll see what in this old 1800 dictionary what the word RST. Let's have a look. Hang on, maybe freedom. Right, here we go. We're getting there now. Frank. No, we don't want to talk about Frank. Let's see what free. I want double E, don't I? Free. We're close. Oh, hello. Let's have a look. Hello. Free hand. Freedom. The state of being free. Liberty, frankness, separation. Bob's your uncle. The state of being free. That's freedom. 7-letter word. It's powerful. So freedom is defined in this dictionary as the state of being free, liberty, and frankness. Well, I guess you would say that I have a little bit of frankness. Who knows? Check if corona is in the old dictionary, please, Dave. We'll go have a look for my gorgeous mate, Kerry Roberts, and see about corona. The sun has a corona. Look, let's go and see the sun's corona. Personally, this is losing a lot of its credibility now, this coronavirus pandemic, scamdemic. Everybody I'm talking to, everybody I'm going to work for is, they're like, something's up, Dave. Something ain't right. I listened to a woman yesterday. Her dad died of Alzheimer's, and he'd had it for 10 years. This wasn't a recent prognosis of Alzheimer's. And she said he lived for a further 10 years because of all the nutrition and supplements we give him. So he had an extra 10 years, God bless him. And he found himself, the death certificate was written up as, you guessed it. I didn't have to say, did I? You guessed it straight away. Yeah, COVID-19. They went, what? But he's had Alzheimer's. Yeah, no, but he died of COVID. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All righty. And then they said they had another friend whose dad passed away a month ago. A heart condition. Had heart conditions for years. Heart attack, cardiovascular. Bob's your uncle turned his toes up. Guess what he died of? You're clever people. You know that. He died of coronavirus. Yeah. Can you believe it? So, quite clearly, they're fudging the numbers. I've got to find corona. Hang on, I'm chatting and trying to concentrate at the same time. I don't want to lose you guys. And COR. Right, let's have a look. We're getting there now. We've got a correct COR, corona. Let's see what corona is defined out in this very old book. On the request of my gorgeous friend, Kerry Roberts. Here we go. Corona. Coronation. It might not be in here, by the way. CORO. Corolla. Corollary. I didn't even know there was a word called corollary. Coronary, pertaining to a crown or to the top of the head. Coronary. Oh, right. The closest I can come to the word corona is coronary, which is pertaining to a crown or to the top of the head applied to an R sound when it is made continuant at the end of a vowel, prolonging the vowel with an R. So it's not got corona in here. This is a very old book, by the way. This is 1800s. So coronary is the closest I can come. So it's pertaining to a crown. So pertaining to a crown. Great old book. Love it. And that's all we have in this. All this that the system plays out on us is words. Paperwork's words. It's spellings and wickedness and all that. And they've certainly lost the plot. And I'm hoping and praying that you guys are all brave enough with all your friends and families to start saying, "Oh, hang on a minute, things have got a little bit outcast here. We need to get back to some goodness." Bella B, the corona is the Jesuit meaning in the dark crown and the head of the crown. Well, yeah, there you go. Crowning. Bella, really? Bella, yes, really, yes. Diane Abbott is doing the COVID-19 death rates. Yeah, she needs an abacus. She's got one of them sliding. I'll never forget watching her. She is an idiot, by the way. I'm not just saying that. It's the stuff that she's put out there in the public domain, if you like. She is a full-blown idiot. She was asked by LBC producer, how are you going to fund all these extra 30,000 or 3,000 constables? Oh, well, the government's going to put £300,000 in, and it's like, Diane, are you sure about that? Yes, we've done the maths. We know this to be true, mate. Look, when you have people like that coming out with statements like that, just pulling them out of thin air, you've got to question what the hell is going on, right? You really should, because, well, you just should. You should be questioning what they're up to. We are in a totalitarian tiptoe, people. The tiptoe is here. You need to be making all your friends and families aware of this. Politely, just gently prod them in the direction, show them some evidence, show them some videos, try and gently prod them in the right direction. Because I tell you what, we could be close to being lost. This country could be close to being lost, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to be a future for you. I don't want that to be a future for your families and their loved ones that are not even here yet, not even born to this country, to have this state party where it deems to own us, own our bodies, own our souls, own our property, and to be able to just to flick in there whenever it wants and to take whatever it wants. We have become a socialist, fascist, communist country. Whether you like it or not, whether my words offend anybody, I'm sorry, it's the truth. We have a socialistic, sick, twisted, wicked, evil group of people that are running it. And everyone still goes out and votes and still has this belief in it. Simon Moller says, New Scotland Yard, London today, 23rd of the 5th, 2020, papers will be served on the police as our government committing treason. So there's a big group of people going out to London today, New Scotland Yard, and papers are going to be served on them today. I do believe, is it the 23rd today? It's not the 23rd, is it? Is it the 23rd? It could be the 23rd. That's how much I'm paying attention to times and dates, man. I think it is. Yes, the 23rd. So that's today. People are going to New Scotland Yard and to serve papers on the government committing treason. So I hope that's a fair old turnout. I really do. Yeah, we are. Look, this is the government have declared war on the people, right? That's how I see it. When they're beating you, killing you, maiming you, dragging you out of cars for a piece of paper, when you've committed no crime, you've hurt and harmed no one. Remember, for there to be a crime, you need two elements: corpus delicti. You need the harm, and you need the intent. That is a crime. That's the definition of a crime, right? If I've got my dictionary out, that old book would probably tell me what the definition of a crime was, right? You need the two elements. You need the harm and you need the intent. That's a crime. When the copper pulls you over and drags you out of the car, it's policy. It is a rule. It's not law. It is not law. Acts and statutes are not laws, because if they were a law, they'd be called a law. They're not laws, ladies and gentlemen. And an act and statute needs the consent of the governed. Half this country don't vote no more. And this isn't me. There's polls. They're saying now that 50% of this great nation and its people cannot be bothered to go and vote anymore. And I'm one of them. I've never voted in my life. No. I signed no electoral registers, nothing. It's by the skin of my teeth. I guess I've got through and ended up where I've ended up. Maybe by the grace of God go I don't know. But my connection and doings with the system is minuscule. But it's a dictatorship. It's totalitarianism. There's no freedom. There's no liberty. So you all need to be paying attention and spread the word. Good luck to everyone that goes up to Scotland Yard today. May blessings be upon you all. And may you stick the bomb in the pickle barrel, because they're committing crimes. The police are the ones that are breaching the peace. They're the ones with the lead-lined gloves. They're the ones with the weapons. They're the ones that are acting ultra-vires. They're acting outside the law. They're the ones that need to question what they're doing, not us. Because there could be a Nuremberg-style trial. I tell you, I absolutely feel that there could be a modern day Nuremberg style trial and these people will be held accountable. It needs to happen. We need it to freedom. Freedom is more than a 7-letter word. People, I will be back with you at some other point over this weekend. Thanks for tuning in. We're just close, coming up to an hour. I do apologise that the other stream got stopped. Lord knows what that's about, but this second one seems to be working quite nicely. Jacket, spud and salad. Beautiful. Beautiful. Apparently next week is the last seal clapping week. Oh, I've got plenty of mackerel. I'll throw them out. But luckily, my street now, they've stopped. They don't do it no more. I think people are seeing through the bullshit. And the beaches have been smashed this week, people. There's been absolutely uber amounts of people down the beach this week. Fantastic. We will not let a totalitarian tiptoe shut us down. This is our country. These are our roads. They're my roads. They're your roads. This is my land. This is my inheritance. This is not a crown corporation bloody takeover. We need to wake up. We need to fix up and we need to look sharp. Get down your beaches. Smash the beaches. Knock it out of the park. Get down, girls. Get your tops off. Get the boys down there ogling you. You need to ram these beaches. These councils, all these sector workers, they're public servants. It should give you a hint. They're serving you. They're not bossing you. They should not be your totalitarian masters. The councils at Brighton saying, oh, this is peculiar behaviour by the people. They shouldn't be doing this. Why not? Because you, a public servant, say so? Well, we need to make sure they're safe. That's what the Germans used to say. We need to make sure we'll be able to cope with the demand at the NHS hospitals. The NHS hospitals are empty. There's hardly anybody in them. But there's masses of people dying from suicide and cancers right now because they can't get operations. Young kids are dying. Suicide, there will be more people die of this lockdown than they will have died through coronavirus. That's a fact. I guarantee it to be a truth. There will be more people killing themselves, committing suicide, dying from starvation because they can't get universal credits or all this other stuff. There will be masses and masses of people dying because of this lockdown. Trust me. Not from COVID-19. Not from COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, the facts are within my village and next door village, there's 14,000 people, 14,000 souls. Allegedly, we've lost one old boy to COVID-19. I like them odds. This second wave will be no different. The second wave, in fact, is the economic crash. The going back to medieval times of stuff. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. My missus come in the other day, said, oh, I've just filled my tank up. It's down at £1 for a litre. Look how the way they manipulate you. It's not the true value of things. We know that the oil prices have all crashed, but there is no safety in this system because 1 minute it's as cheap as chips, the next minute it's as expensive and you can't afford it. There's no stability in that way of life, ladies and gentlemen. No stability whatsoever. Our forefathers had stability. Yes, they used to pay for things in their life, but they knew something would cost something that was easily affordable. They didn't have this. Oh, thunder. They didn't have this situation. But 1 minute you're rich, next minute you're poor. This system sucks. It's a Hunger Games scenario. We've got to stop it. We are the only thing that can stop it. How do we stop that? We stop it by removing our consent, removing ourselves from their stupid system, and we sit on our treasures and we deny them a lifeline. Our council taxes, you should question whether you're paying that right now because council tax is not law. It's a legislative rule of a society. And it has to be enacted every year in Parliament because they know they're on a hide into nothing. They know it's unenforceable, but they rely on your ignorance and your stupidity. And that's all they rely on. And now, instead of them being polite public servants and asking for your offerings, they're totalitarian and they're dictating to you. You will fucking pay, otherwise we'll take your ass off you. We've had social workers say to people, if you don't pay your council tax, we're taking your kids. I'm here for the truth. That's all. I ain't here for anything else. I'm not here for glossiness, as you can see. I'm not here for that. I'm here to bring you truths of what's going on in the real world. Not glossy. There's no facades. We don't put facades up. It's in the fuel, it's 46% tax. Reset the bank system. It's the banks that are the problem. The banks are the scumbags. They're the ones holding out everyone to dry. They're the ones creating this Hunger Games. The banks. They're the ones that own and control the courts. They're the ones that own and control the police. Christ. Most of our constabularies, if you go on to Dun and Bradstreet for yourself, this ain't me being a conspiracy nut job. Go on to Dun and Bradstreet and you'll see that all these county constabularies are private companies. Some of them are owned by IBM. IBM Computers own Devon and Dorset Constabulary. So if it's owned by IBM, obviously Devon and Dorset Constabulary are a profit-making organisation, and they need to make profit. And where do they get their profits? They get their profits from us, the people, by enforcing rules and statutes that are not laws. Peeps, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to go in and have myself a nice power shake, a whey protein shake. Then I'm going to come over here and do some weight training. People, I love you all. I come in here purely just to give you information and give you alternatives. That's all. And for you to take back your power as individuals. How you take back control is by using the Bible and using Christ consciousness. Whether it's for you or it's not, it is the unlock key. Whether you believe me or not, that's not my issue. Go and do your own research. Take everything I say in a context. You go and do your own research. You come up with your own findings, because the truth is only the truth if you know it to be the truth. I could sit here and talk to you like this all year, but if you don't know it to be a truth, it's going to mean nothing and do nothing and have no effect on you. You need to research this for yourself. You need to see the truth for yourself. People, I love you. Stay blessed. Stay happy. Happy weekends. I'm not too sure too many people are going to be down on the beach this weekend, but there you go. It's all good. It's all love. I love you all. Stay blessed, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. Please share. Please tell your friends. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for further notifications or future notifications. Take care. God bless you all. See you soon. Stay safe.